believed that our future homes would reside in the skies. Well, so we used to believe, until we looked up. Hey Mason, Jared here. Today we're going to be talking about the scientific revolution. The scientific revolution was a time period specifically set in Europe from roughly the early 1500s to the late 1600s. It all started with a man who pointed something out that most people don't learn until they're roughly about 10 years old. Polish astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus first identified that the Earth is actually not the center of the universe, but it is the sun. In Copernicus' time, most astronomers believed the theory the Greek astronomer Ptolemy had developed more than 1,000 years earlier. Ptolemy said the Earth was the center of the universe and that it was motionless. He believed all other heavenly bodies moved in complicated patterns around the Earth. Copernicus felt that Ptolemy's theory was incorrect. Sometime between 1507 and 1515, he first circulated the principles of his heliocentric or sun-centered astronomy. Copernicus' observations of the heavens were made with the naked eye, so they'd kind of been seen as invalid. He died more than 50 years before Galileo became the first person to study the skies with a telescope, which, obviously, this would make things a lot easier to see, but they didn't know any of this back then. They're dumb. They're old people. Since Galileo became the first person to study the skies with a telescope, that was pretty much groundbreaking science, because not only did it affect people's views on religion then, it led to newer discoveries now on our entire solar system. Let's put it this way. Since you heard the song, The 12 Days of Christmas, you never knew the real 12 Days of Christmas start on Christmas Day, and last until the evening of the 5th of January, also known as the 12th night. I know, mind-blowing stuff. Or is it? Now, of course, when Galileo learned of Copernicus' theory, he had to see for himself, and thus the telescope. And well, he didn't see golden gates or angels dancing or God waving back at him. Lucky for him, around the same time, the printing press was invented by a man named Johannes Gutenberg, a German inventor. The significance of the printing press is that when one needed to share knowledge, sharing information was a lot more difficult than it would be now, where it's just one click away. One would have to travel from village to village or city to city or country to country, and it was very, very difficult for one to do this. They had to go from village to village and actually publicly speak about how all this worked. And traveling a lot in those days took a lot of time, and that's just not something they had, because people died really quick. And plus, most of the time people didn't believe you, and then you wasted your entire trip on that. And only a couple people are gonna actually hear of your idea, and it's just not worth it. So, yeah, the printing press really helped with that, because that way you just had to send one little paper guy, give a couple of scrolls or whatever old people use, I don't know, pieces of paper, papyrus. Papyrus is also a thing. They use that in Egypt. It isn't paper, it's like leaves or something. It's crazy, mind-blowing. And they'd read off of that, and not only did it help others become more literate, it got everybody to actually read what was going on and spread the ideas a lot more quickly and effectively than if one was to go and do it manually and speak in front of a crowd. Of course, we now have much more modern versions of the printing press and the telescope. We now have telescopes in space, which can see way farther than ground telescopes, especially Galileo's first model. And yeah, digital printers. We all have them. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just kind of cheaply use our office printer or the school. Yeah, I know. You don't want to print things at home, use your own money on ink. You use the office printer. You're not alone. Or you could not have this printer, not have access to any of those things. If you see something that you think is good and you want to write it down for yourself, That's exactly what you had to do. You had to write it down for yourself. You couldn't go and get a printer, scan it or anything. You had to do it all by hand. And we'd still be doing that if it weren't for open thinkers. Our world would be quite different. My name is Jared Marquez, and as always, thank you for watching.